I just won against an Indian dude cursing out my mother like this. So damn satisfying. I know it was a terrible game. I was literally down the whole game. But anyway, so satisfying. I thought the man shouldn't have moved his king out to the center. However, within the variant King of the Hill, the first person to get his king into the center wins. Now, that wasn't such a seamless transition. However, I just wanted to show the instant karma that can occur in chess. Although he had beaten me in the game before that. So it's 1-1 right now. Maybe I'll face him in the future. I hope not, because he really got on my nerve. Anyway, let's get into the first game. Alright, the game has started. 1500 just like me. First game as well. I am black. Does that put you at a disadvantage? I wouldn't say so, because although the goal is to get the king to the center, I'm not going to race down immediately with the king. I'm going to try and control the center. Look, as this opponent is doing, he's just racing immediately with the king. I just want to control the squares initially, and then maybe win material, and then seize the center with the king. Now, we'll see what he does. Moves the king again. Obviously, he can't move there. Now, I don't really like him challenging the center here. I'm just going to try maybe put him in check. Then he shuffles over. Or that way. Now, that way, he's completely barricaded from the center. So maybe I make a run for it now. Although, we can't even access this square. So what's the real point? Let's just play normally for now. Maybe play... And try and break through the center with our pawns. Block his king off. And then just run with our king. That's the plan for now. All right, I really want to do this check. Why not? That's almost checkmate. At that point, it's forced into this position here. Now, does checkmate actually count in this game mode? I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, we'll just rush the pawn here just to test it out. Why not? Oh, he's pre-moved that. I want to test it out. Brilliant. Here's the next game. My goal is in this video to actually win a game by getting the king into the center. However, now I am going to have to still play reserved. Obviously, I can't rush like the other person. This seems like a more valid strategy. Now, my openings aren't my strength, that's for sure. Let's take here and then try and chase his queen out with our knight and seize the center that way. But yeah, openings are definitely not my strength. So let's see what he does first. Obviously, if king starts coming out, we'll just chase him down again, but I really do want to get a win just by actually getting the king out. Here we win the queen. Quite solid. I don't know why I was looking down at the G7 pawn. His queen is clearly pinned, and I just acknowledged that. But, you know, you just start sidetracking and then forget entirely what the position was in the first place. Nice, we're threatening a fork again. Okay, he actually defends that, so he sees that. Interesting. Now, I kind of want to try and just go for the center here. Make a run for it, sure. I mean, they can obviously still control the center. That also works. Yeah, now they're controlling too much of it. Maybe not the greatest idea, but I got a bit overconfident now that I've got his queen. He moves that bishop there. Fair enough. Actually, I want my pawns to move into the center, so I want that capture to occur. Okay, I'll trade here, sure. Now he has no pawns in the center. He is guarding this square, but I'm close. I'm definitely close. And without a queen, I don't feel threatened at all. Now... if I go here, can he guard this square? Yes, with bishop out, but we can actually recapture here. So maybe we just do it. I don't see another way to guard both squares here. Is this the win? Oh, okay, let's go. Let's try and find a good opponent. Oh, we found the same exact opponent. Brilliant. I realized something was up when the matchmaking was less than 2 minutes long. This game mode is not one of the popular ones. Maybe they lose their queen off the bat again. That would be quite solid. Oh, they do the exact same thing. Look at that. There's no way, right? Light out. Give it to me again. Please. Do they learn from their mistakes? Oh, they learn from their mistakes. Okay. I'm going to move my knight here because they can't obviously push this pawn because we can just take here. Now, they're not threatening any scholar's mate or anything ridiculous. We could push here, but does it really? Yeah, we could occupy the center like that. Take down a strong e4 pawn. Let's actually take with the queen here and see if we can maybe control his king before ours, although he has the advantage because he is white. So trading off queens in the center now usually means kings cannot make a run for it, although I'm blocking this square, push here, and he's not actually blocking my closest path. We can obviously stop this with this move, not with the bishop out, because then he just takes. This is blocked. He could have moved his king down. Now, that doesn't do much because my knight actually covers that square. He's covered this one now, although my knight is in this square. So once I take, he can't recapture. So if I take here, he can't recapture because then I just win. So he's going to have to move this pawn here now, or he's pretty much lost. Or he can pin it, obviously, yeah. Well played. Now, if I check him. That'll push him away from the center. And then we maybe move our bishop out here, control these squares even more, and try and get our king in the center. Now that bishop is pinned. If we trade here, our king isn't faster because his king actually... Oh, wait, no, he can't recapture the king, obviously. Okay, that just wins the game for us. Please don't queue again. Oh, I thought you... That was actually a really fast queue, but it wasn't the same person. Interesting. Okay, we go again. We got 1, 2, 3 pack. Now, I don't think that's a valid strat. We're just going to double cover this square, defend our central pawn. He's not going to get his king anywhere close to the center. We're actually going to just keep developing with a check, with some tempo, make him move his king again. Now, if he wants to rush, okay, that's a smart move, although we are ultra defending this square. You can go make a run for it to this side, but our queen move here seems very strong, guarding both the central square and checking. Never mind, he doesn't do that. Now, I'm going to go maybe try and occupy the center even more by pushing this pawn. Although, if he pushes, now then we control, but that's scary, actually. I don't want to do that. Let's actually just attack his e-pawn. Although then he pushes. Let's stop him from pushing. Wait, that doesn't stop him from pushing. Okay. This will stop him from pushing. If I had done f6 and he had pushed, he's obviously threatening this, so I can't recapture, which is very interesting. Now, queen here and then put pressure on the pawn should stop him from pushing. Now, I don't think castling in this game mode is ever a good idea, because if some trades happen, you need to immediately rush. But I think if the queen is still on the board, it'd probably be clever to keep that king in that safe square in the center. I mean, the center might open up, actually. There's a lot of pawn trades, so maybe castling is a strat. But you got to be real careful if the opponent's king is making a run for it. Now, obviously, moving down here could be scary, but our knight could move forward. If he pushes, we can just capture with our queen, and then we fully guard the center. Now, as you can see, he hasn't moved a single piece apart from his king, which is definitely not what you want to do in any game of chess, even King of the Hill. Now, usually I'm the one with time troubles, but the opponent's clearly thinking heavily about this. Now, if his king moves down, we could actually do this, although that is quite scary if he challenges my queen, but we can obviously still maintain it, although then the knight comes in. That's not too fun. They've offered a draw. You can't see it, but it's in the bottom right. Takes. I'm still fine with that, and the king is in front of the queen, so we could maybe force a trade there. Yeah, let's do this now. Attack the central pawn. This knight probably has to come out. If the trade occurs, I'm fine with that. And we're still occupying the center, although then the king might come in. Always got to be careful, but luckily it's only 4 squares you have to maintain. And as a London player, I already have these 2 squares covered. Although I'm not actually playing the London, so I don't know how this is relevant. Just to be a boring player. Now, they might flag. Maybe they offer a draw again. Clearly, they've lost the will to live, and they are letting their time run out. Our Elo is pushing it. And I don't think we have to worry about them playing again. I don't think game abandoned is a thing in variants, whereas in normal chess it obviously is. The first time we get white now, I reckon we push e4. They're going to push into the center. For sure, we'll play that. Now, I would have probably taken that pawn if I were him. Let's push this pawn and then support with the knight. If he tries to run in here, the knight move's still decent. Oh, God. Scary stuff here. Let's play this knight move, just so if he takes, it's still being guarded. Although, like, pawns to kick out the knight would be scary as well. I think I got a double defend here. Oh, what a move. What a move by the opponent here. If I take his queen, it is GG. The king moves in. I'm going to have to move my king, which actually isn't too bad of a thing in this game mode. We could actually make a run for it ourselves, because they haven't developed much. Now, they've gone for that. They want to just take our knight. But if they take our knight, we get our king into the center now. So they're going to have to go for something here. Although we have 2 squares which we can go into, which they can't cover. Now we can just win. Nice. Our king was way too strong there. Had 2 squares to go into, which he couldn't have covered. Nice win. Is this the same person? I think it is. A simple move like that doesn't seem like a good idea. Now we've just fully controlled the center. I don't think this is the same person. Now moving that forward seems decent. Obviously we can't capture. Let's just push. And then he comes around the side and we can defend with our knight. And we have enough time. Actually, we can even do the bishop here. Although the bishop, he moves down. Actually, moving down is perfect for us. Let's do this with tempo. Maybe try and win this pawn, because otherwise our king can't do anything. He's I think we want to go for a checkmate here. This is looking very bad for the opponent. Check here. And then this should be checkmate, right? No, I missed something. What am I missing? Oh, bishop takes. I'm missing bishop takes. That is such a shame. Okay, double check, although the king survives. Now our queen comes in, though. And that should be checkmate. Almost. He can take the knight. So maybe our queen shouldn't come in there. Now, after he takes the pawn, where can we find the checkmate? Maybe we just get our queen out like this way, and the checkmate will come a lot quicker. Yeah, let's get our queen out that way. Let's not find the immediate check, although if king takes, then that should be checkmate as well. Yeah, that's a forced checkmate as well. Yeah, let's do that one. So after takes, we go queen b8. Should we pre-move it? Pre-move. Queen b8, he takes our knight, and then queen b6. Should be checkmate. Bang! Okay, and let's get into the next game. Oh, wow, quick. Same person again. Now let's push e4 again. Let's see if they give us the center again and move their king out without developing a single piece. I'm tempted to do this to try and get the pawn out the way and then get our bishop in, but it could be risky. If the king moves, we'll figure it out. Oh, they pre-move. That was not the play, my sir. What is going on here? Okay, they maybe want to beat me on time. Oh, that is strong, though. I did miss that completely. We're going to have to just block it. And then this is scary. They take the central pawn with a check. We're going to defend with our queen, so we maintain this pawn. His light squared bishop can't come out, obviously. That was probably a mouse slip. You know what? I'll do this. Now, you got to take the queen. You're going to take a pawn on your way out. Okay. What was that? That was just a whirlwind of a game. Okay. All right, we get a game against Wing Feather. Pushes e4. We match e4. We match the e4. We defend our pawn. And this person seems relatively decent. Let's attack their pawn and have ideas of pushing d5. And we just got to win that battle of the center. Now they defend decently enough. After takes, we take with our knight. And we technically have control of the center. Maybe we rotate our knight to b6, trying to move this bishop back. Although, to be honest, we got to defend these squares here. Now, queen comes out here. Let's just push f6 to support our pawn. Oh, we don't have to. Let's maybe move our bishop out here. To be honest, the knights seem very, very good in this game mode at withholding the king from getting to the center. Now, bishop takes. We'll retake. Knight comes out. We could actually have this idea. Although, yeah, it would be a real big trade. Because after knight takes, yeah, let's try it. Let's just be fancy with this. And after queen takes, we can take here. If pawn takes, we just move our queen forward. Sorry, and we're still equal. He does take. Oh, although his king moves forward here, that is dangerous. And we are very bad light square control. We can obviously push f5 still to stop his king. Let's actually move our king forward as well. We can move f5 up after this. Although after g4... we might be in trouble. Let's do this. And we called it, although we can check first. King will move to the side. We can check again. And his king will be far away enough for us to be safe. And then we could maybe attack his knight with the idea of obviously getting our king to the center. He defends. However, after pawn takes... oh, no, never mind. Pawn forward. Wait, what if we move this pawn forward? He has almost no way of stopping. However, he does have bishop forward here. That is such a shame. Okay, maybe we check here first to get his king out. Completely out of the way. No worries at all now. And then we just got to hack at this knight. Although he just has to keep it there because he can recapture. So maybe we actually aim for this pawn first. Now his king is completely gone. Maybe we move both of our rooks in and control the center that way. That could be the way. Yeah. Move our king to the side. Ooh, what a move. Although after pawn takes, we can move our rook to the center and control that e-file. And he still can't move in. However, this is getting close. Now, after takes, we're still fine. So maybe we go for our strategy of trying to kick the knight out. Or we could go... oh, we can't go for any checks anymore. Yeah, let's try and kick his knight out. Knight in front is... not fine. Oh, not fine. Knight in front would be such a good play here, because after takes, it's game. And his king is defending both the squares that we need to access, so that is a really, really strong move. We might have lost this game, because after blocks, I don't see any way of us stopping him from infiltrating here. He doesn't do it, thank God for that. Maybe we move our knight in, although that doesn't do anything either. However, now he doesn't have the idea of blocking in front. So let's maybe go here. push this pawn and try and make this one fall. And this standoff on the e-file is rather deadly. What a play. Rook into the middle, although is it really that strong of a play? It doesn't really achieve that much. Just blocks one of the squares that you can actually go into. So let's take this pawn, removing the defender of the d5 square. He obviously will recapture, but after check, his king cannot move into e4. So we could actually block our rook. He's going to double up very strong. However, his knight is defending that d5 square. I didn't see that one. However, after a check, wow, this is bad for us. We could try and deflect his king and then take in the center. With his king deflected, oh wow, what a deflection. Okay, we deflected the king now. Now we can take in the center here. If he takes with his pawn, we can obviously go to e5 with our king. He takes with his rook. Nice. Now we have to try and get into one of the... Let's try and block off his king so we aren't scared of any king infiltrations again, although we kind of managed that pretty well. He moves that forward. We could possibly try and go for a check here and reroute our knight to go attack this d3 pawn. His king moves even further away, making me worry a lot less. Try and attack this, maybe get a passed pawn going. We should have maybe just taken the pawn. We should have definitely just taken the pawn and then moved our king here. Let's do that next if he doesn't do it himself. And maybe we just try and kick out this knight, because with this knight kicked out, it should be pretty screwed. Let's kick out the knight. This is the only square he has to stop. He has to stop it again. Maybe rook here would be a really strong move. We can obviously remove the defender, though. He does defend that square. However, once we do this, we're attacking two different squares. Oh, rook here, though. Oh my god, the rooks are really fencing us off. 6 seconds for the opponent. Maybe he loses on time. Wouldn't be a satisfying way to win, but it is going to happen. That's unfortunate. I think he was winning. He moves his pawn, queen's pawn forward. Let's just mirror that. Straight in with the king. Definitely not the strat. We are actually we are guarding this pawn of this square. Obviously, he can maybe move into here. Then we'll have to probably just go for our queen out. But giving us momentum with checks plus developing is really good for us. Now let's move on. Bishop out into the center. Although king here is actually quite intimidating now. We shouldn't have done that. Let's defend our bishop. Oh, what? Sorry, never mind. He hung his queen, and that doesn't stop him from infiltrating, so I don't know what that was all about. Now, we obviously have to watch out here. It's still very, very losable. I would want to do trades, but it really depends. We kind of want to open up the center, but in the right way, where we dictate it. Obviously, pushing here just completely loses us the game. Actually, yeah, it is pretty bad. Okay, knight comes in. If we take, they take, we can recapture the queen. So that might be the play for now. And he can't really stop much. Yeah, let's do that. The queen will stop him from going to d4. Knight blocks. We can check, or we can actually capture it. Capturing seems even better. And then our king should have free reign here. Those two bishops shouldn't hold us off without the rooks, help of the rooks. And the queen could actually reserve those squares. I'm actually going to take here because it's a check, so he can't recapture the pawn. He's going to recapture the king. Now let's get our king in. And no rook can control this file. So even after... Oh, wait. After king up, bishop takes, we win the race. So we have access to both these squares now, if he captures or just going up here. And this would be a valid move. However, we can just take with the queen. And after... Oh, wait, never mind. Oh, God. After king takes, that wouldn't be fine. And we can't even move our king here to try and go for this square, because after captures, we can't even go into that square. Now, after takes here, we do control it, but we have just lost our queen by being too rash. Now, we do still control these two squares, so we are fine. And he only has a white bishop to his name, so this dark square right here seems very infiltratable. And I don't think he can... Stop it. Oh, no way. I just realized I was defending that pawn with a king. Oh. A loss. A loss. Oh, God. GG's to that person. We get a rematch. Nice. Okay, we got to destroy them now. Let's take here, attack the queen. Queen maybe a5, just do the usual opening. No, go straight for a check. I don't think there's a reason why you shouldn't do that. Let's actually go for the queen trade and get our momentum with the king. Yes, he could actually control the central square, so maybe that isn't the greatest idea. Ooh, interesting. Doubling up pawns in the center seems very strong for us. Now, he's going to have a very tough time trying to control these light squares, so maybe we move our bishop out first, and then just our king can maybe parade forward. Nice. That bishop move was very bad for him. And his king will have to go around to get in. My king should be faster. And now his light squared bishop can't go to f5 to protect this square. So how is he going to guard it? Yes, this knight move is still possible, but that is going to be tough for him because my king will just be lurking here and we're going to try and hack away at that knight. We've got momentum here with our bishop, with his bishop. Knight comes out, makes sense. Does lose the bishop though, and we do get a fork between the central square and the knight after takes. So let's do that. He is forced to, well, he isn't forced to take, but if he does take, we do manage to get this and keep the pawn alive. Now, I'm not too worried here. And now we do get some strength for this g5 push. He pushes there, which I would consider smart. However, it does open up the dark square in the center and we get the win. So let's rematch him one more time. Try and win the best of 3 game. Let's see if he accepts it. But that is basically what happened to me. Tunnel vision and then one of the squares opens up. And the pawn was just so important in the center. And I just stopped defending it by trying to get my king in. Okay, clearly doesn't want the rematch. I mean, he wussied out, so that doesn't make me the loser. Let's play one last game. Hopefully we get a good opponent. We have an opponent. They are officially rated, so this might be a tough one. They probably won't go king e2 first move. No, they don't. Let's keep controlling the center here and see what we can do. Bishop comes out. Seems very reasonable. Let's also control it. He's got the dark square. He's got the light squares. I've got the dark squares. I'm going to watch out here for d4. He will have more attackers than defenders, so maybe we do d6 and push our bishop back once he does it. And then if he pushes here, it should be fine. We still have control of the center and we've blocked this pawn in, so light squares aren't an issue too. And after pushes, we're going to have to reroute our knight probably to the edge of the board. It is actually attacking this bishop, so he might have to retreat unless he wants to trade a knight for a bishop. Which actually, considering earlier I said bishops might be worse than knights, so maybe I don't want to do that. Now, maybe I want to move my queen out here to attack the center. Ooh, interesting. They've taken with the pawn. Now, I'm going to take here and probably have a queen trade, which is fine by me because not castling is a non-issue. And we're still controlling the center. They do trade. We accept. Yes, they get a free pawn, but that's the least of my worries, to be honest, in this game mode. Because then we do get some momentum here. And with the king, we get some tempo, which is important. And to be honest, if moving the king out now doesn't make too much sense, because he is controlling that light square really well, and even going to the dark square will be tough. So you know what, let's just move our knight out, try and get our rook out, control this file, and then we need to try and win the pawn game. Which currently we have an isolated pawn over here, so that's not great. I think we are adequately defending it though. Now we could take here, and that does weaken his light square significantly, and his knight can't move to c3. So I'm going to actually trade. His king shouldn't really get through, especially if we push this pawn in the end. And we got to watch out. Maybe let's move our king forward. I'm not worried about him taking here, because then he won't have enough time to probably stop my king. And I'm okay with losing a knight for that. Now let's move here. He's going to have to support his pawn, and then we move this pawn forward and support it with a rook. This pawn forward to completely stop his king in its tracks. He checks, which is fine by me because I can just move to c5 and attack this pawn, or actually possibly this square in the future. Now this light squared pawn is really important for us. We definitely have to support it with our rook. However, attacking this looks good. Okay, we definitely have to protect it. Let's do this. And once the knight comes out, we're going to add another defender with our bishop. And we've got a discovered check here, actually. So we'll do that next. Taking the pawn. Our knight is still hanging, which is quite funny. To be honest, the opponent probably should have just taken that. To be honest, focusing on a normal game with material is probably the best way to play this, but I want to try and get my king in that center, man. Now, defending this pawn could be an option. And to be honest, our king is stopped in its tracks then. They want to go for the trade here, which I suppose I don't need to go for straight away, right? I can just take here, and his knight is completely pinned. We can get a check out of it with a bishop, and then attack the d5 square. So taking here, if he takes, we obviously win straight away. Wait, yeah. Now we're focusing on this d5. He really should have taken earlier. Now he does defend. However, we can check with our bishop. His king is forced to move back because we've just created a wall here. And now we can take this knight, and if he takes here, we take his pawn. If he doesn't take, we just move to d4 and we win. Good move from them, well played. However, we can block with check, and this pawn is now undefended. And white resigned. Good game. Well played. If you want to see an episode 2, please subscribe, and goodbye.